Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to do a deep dive into a topic that I think a lot of people will relate to,
Yeah.
and that is the movie Scrambled.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to talk about this one.
So, you gave me your review of this film,
Right.
and it really piqued my interest
Oh, good. Right.
because I always love a good rom-com,
Mm-hmm.
but this one seems to have like a little bit more depth to it,
Absolutely.
especially because it's dealing with some pretty
Yeah.
serious topics like
That's okay.
fertility.
Yeah, it's not your typical fluffy rom-com.
Right. So I really want to unpack this movie, not just the plot, but really get into the semi-autobiographical nature of it,
Right.
why it's resonating with so many people.
Yeah, I think it's touching on something very universal.
Yeah. So let's just start with the basics.
Yeah.
Can you give us a brief synopsis of the plot?
Sure. So Scrambled is about this woman, Nellie Robinson.
Okay.
She's 34 years old, and she's kind of at this crossroads in her life,
Wow.
surrounded by friends who are all getting married,
Right.
having babies,
Oh,
and she's feeling the pressure,
I can only imagine.
of societal expectations and that
Tools.
ticking biological clock,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she's like, all right, I'm going to freeze my eggs.
Oh, okay.
But instead of just dealing with all the emotions that come with that,
Yeah.
she decides to reconnect with all of her ex-boyfriends.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach.
Yeah. So, I mean, how many ex-boyfriends are we talking?
Quite a few.
Okay.
We've got a great ensemble cast, by the way.
Okay.
Ego Nwodim, Andrew Santino,
Okay. Yeah.
Adam Rodriguez, and Clancy Brown.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she's going on a little trip down memory lane
Right.
with all these different guys.
I see. And so is each of these exes kind of representing something different, or?
Yeah, I think that's what's really clever about the film.
Okay.
Each ex kind of represents a different path not taken.
Oh, okay.
Like a different version of what her life could have been.
Interesting.
One might represent settling down.
Okay.
Another, the allure of just a really carefree lifestyle.
Okay.
And another one, the challenges of trying to balance
Yeah.
a career and a family.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that women are kind of
Right.
expected to juggle.
Yeah, totally.
So through these encounters, she's dissecting her past choices, her
Right.
past relationships,
Yeah.
and ultimately kind of confronting her own beliefs about what it means to be successful
Right.
and fulfilled as a woman.
Yeah, and it's in today's world,
Right.
there's so many different paths you could take.
Exactly.
That's not just one size fits all.
Absolutely.
I mean, it makes me think about, in your review, you
Yeah.
talked about how this film really made you rethink
It did.
certain societal expectations.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment or scene?
Well, there's this one scene
Yeah.
where Nellie has dinner with this friend who seems to have it all.
Okay.
She's married, successful career, beautiful kids.
Right.
But under the surface,
Yeah.
you get this sense that she's longing for something more.
Okay.
And that really resonated with me because I think it challenges that picture-perfect image of happiness
Right.
that society often presents,
Yeah, I told it.
especially for women.
Okay, yeah. So it's not always what it seems
Exactly.
on Instagram.
Right.
So-
Social media can be very deceiving.
Totally, totally. So we've talked about Nellie's story, but one of the things that I think is really fascinating
Yeah.
is that this film is semi-autobiographical.
Right.
So how did Leah McKendrick, who is the writer, director, and star of the film,
She's a triple threat.
she is, how did her own experience with egg retrieval kind of shape the narrative?
I think it adds a layer of authenticity
Okay.
that you don't always see in films.
Yeah.
Especially those dealing with these kinds of topics.
Yeah.
By drawing from her own life,
Yeah.
she brings this rawness and honesty to the film.
Yeah.
It's not just some made-up story.
Yeah.
It's a real glimpse into the anxieties,
Totally.
the hopes, the uncertainties that so many women face.
Yeah, you mentioned anxieties. I'm
Yeah.
also curious, because you mentioned this in your review too,
Yeah.
about the financial,
Oh.
emotional realities of egg freezing.
It's a huge factor.
Right.
I mean, it's not just an emotional decision. It's
Yeah.
a logistical one and a financial one for a lot of people.
Totally.
There's a scene where Nellie is talking to her mother
Okay.
about the cost, and it's clearly a big burden.
Yeah.
The film doesn't shy away from that.
Okay.
It acknowledges the real challenges involved.
Yeah. So we've talked about the serious aspects,
We have.
but this is also billed as a comedy.
It is.
So do you think that the humor helps make this topic more approachable?
I think comedy can be such a powerful tool
Okay.
for exploring sensitive issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it lets us laugh at the absurdity of it all
Yeah.
while still acknowledging the seriousness.
Right.
It provides this release, a way to
Yeah.
process those
Uh-huh.
complex emotions without feeling overwhelmed.
I see. I see. Well, it sounds like Scrambled really
It
uses
does.
humor to kind of like
Mm,
spark some deeper conversations.
yeah.
It's not about giving you easy answers,
Nope.
but more about making you question
Exactly.
your own assumptions
Mhm.
and, how society kind of frames things,
Totally.
especially when it comes to fertility
Mm-hmm.
and womanhood.
Yeah, it's not provoking.
Yeah. And, it makes me think,
Yeah.
if art imitates life,
Right.
as the saying goes,
Mm-hmm.
how might watching this film actually offer
Yeah.
kind of a different perspective on our own choices
It's a great question.
and these expectations that society puts on us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is a lot to unpack.
For sure.
Well, for anyone listening
Yeah.
who's intrigued by what we've talked about today,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely recommend checking out Scrambled.
It's worth a watch.
Happy watching.
Enjoy.